So Google analyzes the readability score of your pages. So we talked about improving writing skills for email marketing, but the same is true of, is absolutely true, pretty much every bit of digital marketing. Everything needs to be well written. Is the content fresh, regularly updated? Google likes things to be new. It likes to know that what it's showing to its users is up to date and accurate and fresh. So it sees when you last updated the page. And it doesn't like it if the content is ad heavy. So Google uses lots of tools to kind of see what the type of content is. And it doesn't want to see lots and lots of ads on the page. In the UK, lots of local newspaper websites are like this much news, and all the rest is surrounded by advertising. There's so much advertising on it, and it's an unpleasant experience for the user. And Google knows that those sorts of pages are unpleasant for the user. Luckily for them, they really value news on Google, so it doesn't necessarily mean that they won't get seen. So user experience, we mentioned this before. Just going to see, there is actually something else I'm going to talk about in this that wasn't mentioned. So user experience, Google wants users to have a good user experience. Google Spiders, which is what we call the tools, effectively, that Google uses to look at websites, all those more than billion websites in the world. Google uses what they call spiders to crawl those websites. And those spiders are kind of reporting back on how easy it is to get around the website. In the same way that you as a user wants to have a website that's easy to navigate, easy to find things, those spiders really want to be able to get seamlessly from one part of the website to another. So it's taking that into account. This next bit is crucial for a couple of reasons. It's user experience, making paragraphs easy to read, tidy, good headlines, so that when you're scanning the content, as we saw with the F-shaped scanning process earlier, that you can easily find what you're looking for. But this is also about accessibility, which I should have mentioned in the website lecture actually. User experience and accessibility and SEO are all kind of tied in together. Accessibility is where websites are built to be accessible to anyone who could use this, to anyone in the world, which includes blind people. So people are using what we call screen readers to use a website. The screen reader that will read out the content on the website. Proper use of headings and folder structure that's how screen readers use websites, how they navigate websites. It's by good use of things like headings and folder structure. So by making your website user-friendly, it's also going to be more accessible to anyone who could possibly need to use your website, and Google Spiders like it. In the EU, from next year, I believe, people from companies can actually, people with websites that aren't accessible in the EU from next year could actually go to prison for not making their website accessible. So, it's extreme. It is extreme, and it'll be interesting to see if that happens. But that's how important accessibility is. But ultimately, if you make your website accessible to blind people, it's going to be accessible to Google Spiders as well. Google also wants your website to be optimized for mobile phones, and basically wants it to be responsive. It really, really punishes websites for not being responsive, and also for taking too long to load. So one of the tools I think you will use in your seminars is like Google Page Speed Checker, and you can run it on any website. It doesn't have to be your own. you can have a look at how well it scores. So you might want to try Leeds Beckett University in this Google's page speed testing thing. I have to say, it doesn't come across well on the page speed, especially for mobile. So it's not the be-all and end-all. All these factors work together. If your page is slow to load, but it's got really good content, and it's really, really valuable content, it will still appear. It's not going to disappear from the search results just because it's slow to load. It just means that if there's competition for that keyword, then yours might score less well than someone else who's got a more, like a quicker website to load. If your keyword is very specific, you're searching for Leeds Beckett University, it's probably going to appear at the top of the search results for Leeds Beckett University, even if it's slow to load. So, keywords. In the olden days of search engine optimization, what website builders, marketers would do is effectively stuff a web page with keywords. So you'd look up using what you can now use Google Trends to look up what people are searching for, to see what keywords they're using, and then you could just completely stuff a page with those keywords. Google does not like that now, so you have to avoid keyword stuffing. Once you need to use the keywords, but you need to use them in a logical way in your content. So when you're writing a piece of content, you might write something. So let's say you write something about what to do on a day out in Hanoi. And you could write your content, but then use Google Trends to see the sorts of things that people actually search for in terms of there might be words like Hanoi tourist, things to do in Hanoi, and those specific search terms. And then what you want to do is to go into your content and make sure that you've got those terms. So you might make your heading of the page things to do in Hanoi if that is a well-used search term. So that's keyword research, is where you're looking up what people are searching for. And you can be really specific with it on Google Trends. You can set locations, you can set some demographic factors to really nail down into what people are searching for. So it's resisting the temptation to just go, well, I would search for this. It's not about you, it's about your potential customers. So yeah, they are really, really important for determining a website's rankings. Now again, in the olden days of building websites and in SEO, those keywords might also have been stuffed into the metadata of a website. You used to you have what we call metadata in the code of a website, so it's not visible to a general visitor to the website, but it is visible to Google's spiders, and it's visible if you look at the source of some websites as well, which you can do in your browser. But yes, so one of the meta tags you can do is is keywords, and you used to just stuff lots and lots of keywords into the code. But now, as far as we know, because it is slightly mysterious, Google pretty much ignores those sorts of keywords. The metadata that it is important for Google is the title and description of the web page. So your meta title is what appears here in your search results, and it's also can be what appears in the tab at the top of your browser, but you can kind of set it to show different things. But ultimately, that's what your meta title is. It isn't necessarily the title on the page. So on this website, which is a supermarket in the UK, it'll just say Asda on their homepage. It doesn't say Asda.com, online food shopping, George, and more. So your meta title can be different to the general heading on the page. So So that's just something that's very important to bear in mind and making sure that you have access to those things when you're working on the website. The description, the meta description, is this bit that appears in Google. If you don't have a meta description, it'll take the first couple of lines of text on your page, which won't always be something that sells your business. So you really want to control what appears there, and you can do that by filling out your meta description. If you're using WordPress as a content management system, then you can kind of set that on individual pages, even without access to the code, by filling out the excerpts box on WordPress. So just a little tip for WordPress there. Okay. Basically, the more organized your code is on your website, the more Google's going to know about your website, and then it will judge whether it needs to go further up the rankings. When I was working on the very big university website, I would set up automations using Google Tag Manager to make sure every piece of content that was on the website had exactly the right metadata, categorized exactly right. And it was a very big job because we had tens of thousands of pages on the website. So it's a difficult thing to do manually when you're doing a big website. But it's worth it because it also changes the way it appears on Google. So these are, so HubSpot is an organization like, it's like a CRM manager as well as a social media manager, and database management is like one big tool for businesses to use to keep track of all their digital marketing. And they say that what you need to do for SEO success is you need to get your website crawled. So like with my website that wasn't appearing on Google, I said, Google, please crawl my website. Conduct an SEO audit. So have a look, so basically audit your website as you are going to do for the brands that you choose. You might do an SEO audit of their website. Make sure your URLs make sense. So sometimes you go to a website where the URLs might be like, you might have leadsbeckett.ac.uk/P?12345 and that isn't helpful for anyone. It doesn't tell Google what the web page is about, and it's no good for sending people to those pages without using sort of forwarding services. So make sure that things like your URLs, page titles and descriptions are all describing what the page is. You can make sure your keywords are the URL. So let's say you have a page that is about things to do in Hanoi. Make sure the URL is blah blah.ac.co.uk. Oh no, sorry, .vn. We're not in the UK. .vn/things-to-do-in-Hanoi. It's kind of long, but it's also quite easy to understand and have their keywords. Get that keyword throughout your page in relevant and logical places. Ideally, if you have the resources, make sure you know what keywords people are searching for, using to search for the sorts of content that you have on every page on your website. Keep the balance between including your keyword but not keyword stuffing. It's difficult. SEO is, people who are SEO experts get paid a lot of money because it is tricky, because you have to balance these seemingly contradictory things. It's a tricky thing, which is why it's so satisfying. Make sure you know how valuable each page is to your business, because you'll want to put more work into the ones that are more valuable. So thinking about you don't have limitless resources, so make sure you know which ones are basically prioritize your pages. So you might have a few different pages that would each be shown for one particular keyword. So you kind of need to work out, okay, which one of these pages is more valuable, and making sure that that's the one that's appearing for that keyword. Define your target audience. You need to do that for every bit of social media, digital marketing that you do. When you create new pages on a website, make sure you're really planning what the titles of those pages are so that they have keywords in them and they make sense. Go through and add new meta descriptions to all the pages, even if they've been there for years. Regularly review and edit page content, make sure it's up to date. I'd say also have a calendar for doing that. On some websites, they'll actually say things like, this page was last updated on such and such, it's due to be updated again on such and such. So they, like some organisations will build in the date that they review content to their entire website structure. Visual content, Google really loves visual content, but it needs to be labelled and titled correctly. So if you've got an image of the NEU, the lake, or the pond at the front of the building, whatever you call it, I would save the name of that image as NEU lake.jpg. Don't have it as like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.jpg. It needs to, Google looks at the names of images as well when it comes to SEO. Optimizing your visual content also means, so we talked about page load speed. So what you don't want is to have really great images that take so long to load. You really need them to be quick. So make sure all of your images are optimized. There's actually an image format called WebP that's very, very fast, and you can get tools that will automatically make your pictures WebP. Internal links. The spiders need to be able to find your content as well as the users. External links, you want to link out to other websites. The reason for that is that Google likes it when you give your users somewhere else to go. I mentioned earlier about how no one likes a dead-end website, and Google really likes to be sent off to other places. So add external links to your content, and make sure that your pages are optimized for conversions. So make it very clear what the call to action is on each page. And again, that's going to help Google, because Google wants to know what you want your customers to do. So if it's selling a product, make sure it's really obvious how they buy that product, and things like that. So off-page factors. So that's everything that you can do, that you have control over effectively. That's on your owned media, your website. So that's what you have control over to help your search engine optimization. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it because it'll get you at the top of the search results. If you also have decent off-page factors. Just don't touch that one. You can touch that one, not that one. This one is staying with temperature. So, off-page factors is basically getting your website mentioned in other places, some of which you have control over and some of which you don't. In the past, similar with keyword stuffing, there used to be sort of websites that purely existed to provide backlinks to websites. So you might have a page that just had thousands of links to other websites on there, and effectively what those websites would do was sell a space on that website to get you what's called a backlink, which is a link back to your website. But Google does not like those web pages, just like it doesn't like web pages stuffed with adverts or keywords. It also doesn't like web pages that are just stuffed with links for links' sake. So buying links is not a good idea. So what you can do instead to get these links back to your website is to build your brand. is to do content marketing and to really use social media effectively to drive people back to your website. So this says here the off-page SEO. I'm just going to quickly run through them. Social network, blogging, posting on forums, article submissions, press releases, reviews, events, video promotions, PDFs, online answers to questions that people pose online, posts, directory submissions, making sure that your website's in all possible directories that are relevant. So I'll just go through some of these. I'm going into a lot of detail about this. I guess it's because this is part of the work that I do. But yeah, backlinks. The definition: when another website links to yours on the website, but normally in an article or blog post. It helps you gain what's called domain authority, which is basically saying that your domain is kind of the authority on the subject. But it also means that people are more likely to click through to your website if it is appearing on other reliable domains. So what you want are quality backlinks. So not those pages where they've got thousands of links, but you want quality backlinks. So an example of a quality backlink, it doesn't actually mention here, but is Wikipedia, for example. So having your website linked to from somewhere like Wikipedia.